kind of a relating to the whole significance of this site historically as layers of history, going from early mining days to Boer War to Iron Age and right back to the earliest hominids. There's this connection on this very spot to the idea of layers of history. And also, if you look closely at some of the rocks, you'll find that they actually have fossilized sea animals. This was once underwater, like most of the world. And so the idea with this rack was really to relate to something which Timothy Leary said, which was that surfers had reached or had discovered the dance, and the dance with the universe, and had really reached as far as we, had reached this point which he believed that we were evolving towards, which was a purely aesthetic state. So the idea with the rack is really to leave it here, and maybe one day it'll become fossilized, or become studied in 200,000 years if we leave the boards here, and you'll have remains of hominids, and you'll have remains of Iron Age cultures, and remains of 20th century and 19th century life, and you'll have these which nobody will, or somebody will place in time. But also one day the waves might come back here, in fact, quite soon, but maybe in a few 100,000 years. And so you'll have some, we've chosen a spot which we think will pick up a lot of swell, and basically this is the vantage point to do the surf check and grab a board.
And tell us who's Thomas Mulcaire.
Oh, that's me. Thomas Mulcaire is an artist from here, from Joburg. I grew up here, about 10 k's from here. And my collaborator on the project is Ricardo de Oliveira, who is a Brazilian who lives in New York. But he and I connected at the Venice Biennale in 1995, and we've been friends since then, and we've always wanted to make a work together, and that culminated in the surf movie. And this piece, which is called Point Break, and Ricardo shaped the board. He shaped this board for me, which was a replica of a Buzzy Trent gun. It was the first gun, and it was Ricardo. He's not here today, but there he is. And this gun he made for me, based on the first gun that was shaped by a guy called Buzzy Trent, who was one of the first surfers to really try and deal with Waimea. And the word gun comes from a sentence which I'll probably paraphrase a bit here, but to the effect of, if we're going to hunt these monsters, we're going to need some guns, And that's how the word gun was born. So this is a big wave board, which will probably be the conditions that will prevail here in a couple of 100,000 years. And then the other two boards are also single fin boards, but they're more. This board is a beautiful board for kind of a 5-foot wave, glassy. Oh, I mean, you don't really need to be glassy, but like, it's an absolutely beautiful board. Also quite fast, but cuts really beautiful lines, and it's really a style of surfing that appeals to Ricardo and I, to do with the dance, rather than to do with cutbacks. And cutbacks are cool, but there's something more in the dance, I think.
And the idea for this project, what came first, the movie, the collaboration?
Well, the movie came first, but this piece was born for here, It was born out of the idea that one day, well, actually, the genesis of this project was in 2010, when I was invited to think of a piece for a sculpture show here. And it didn't work out because of kind of logistical reasons, but I always wanted to do that piece, and then Benji invited us to do the editing of the film, and so the opportunity came back, as it normally does, and Benji was very happy to have us install it here, and he said, we can look around, and I make racks like this, and we made this from a blue gum plantation that they'd like to remove from the reserve, so we cut this down, and this rack is made entirely from the tree that we cut down. So these parts, these latta, as you say, are from the same tree that this is the trunk, basically this bifurcated shape. But yeah, it's very specific to this context. You know, it's a very site-specific piece to do with the history of the cradle of mankind and the fact that one day this would be part of its history, together with the other sculptures that are being put in the landscape.